guess China is very unique in its way, or at least that's how the general public receives it. Like somebody who has not studied, maybe didn't do much of research, they will see that China is anomaly, or that's how it's perceived. Like in other societies, like in Morocco, for instance.
Yeah.
Okay. Like Chinese for us are superhuman beings.
Yeah, for Brazil as well.
You get what I mean?
I think it's,
there is this misconception about the entirety of how the economy and people work in certain regimes. And would you want to clarify about that part?
It's funny because people don't realize that in many countries you have positive discrimination against foreigners, right? You have xenophilia instead of xenophobia.
Discrimination.
Yeah, but it's true. Like
what is positive discrimination?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. It's like we have this. We have something similar in Brazil, xenophilia, which is the fact that if you see a foreigner of Oriental descent, we immediately assume that they're smarter than we are. Okay. So they are like, no, they're smarter. So it's like, because they study harder, they work harder. It's the same. Which means that Chinese people in Brazil are not discriminated against. Nobody. There is no yellow peril. That's horrible. This horrible term that existed in the U.S. in the 40s, but then again it was the Second World War. Yeah. There is nothing like that in Brazil. Nobody's afraid of the Chinese. The opposite is like people are like wow, exactly, overwhelmed by the fact that Chinese are competent and stuff like that.
Yes. How does that play? Like how does it?
So in a way, I don't think the Chinese are special.
But then what China?
Human beings are the same everywhere. The Chinese people here want the same stuff that people in Morocco and Brazil and the U.S. and Denmark want, right? Once that gets out of the way, the social arrangement in China is different. Of course it is, right? Is the social contract is different. That for me is the most fundamental difference, is that the social contract is different, and the fact that in China, there is a mechanism of social climbing that has existed for over 1,500 years.
Social climbing?
Yes, that doesn't exist anywhere else.
What's that?
Keiju is the imperial exam. Is the fact that in the 6th century or the 7th century, the emperors at the time created what became the imperial exam that was open to every Chinese man, then later to Chinese women as well, of any age, in which you pass this exam, you are part of the empire. You are part of the imperial bureaucracy. If you pass at the highest rank, you go to Beijing. So it means that no matter where you're born in the empire, you can have the dream to get out of that, whatever situation you are, if you study hard and pass the exam. You become part of the imperial bureaucracy. Imagine imagine medieval Europe, right, where people were serfs tied to the land. That didn't exist. There was no social mobility at all. It didn't exist. And the imperial exam, partly because the empress at the time saw that the bureaucrats, the local bureaucrats were very incompetent. The imperial bureaucracy before the imperial exam was populated by 80% by a few families and 20% by outsiders. And in 100 years it was the reverse. 80% by outsiders, 20% by the elite families. This exists today in China. That is the social contract in China. You study, work hard enough, and you make it. And you have that in the Zhongkao, and you have that in the Gaokao, right? And that's what.
These are two different exams.
Yes, the Zhongkao is the exam that the Chinese take after they finish the fundamental part of education, in which the exam is designed to fail 50% of the students. If you fail, you go to vocational schools. If you pass, you can go to an academic track. So that is the first one, but that is easy. It's only 50%, right?
Yes. So that's 12th grade?
I think it's 9th grade.
9th grade. Okay.
I'm not sure. Again, I'm not a Chinese scholar.
Yeah, but then fundamental. Yeah.
And then you have the Gaokao, which is the entrance examination equivalent to the SAT in the US, but in China is binding, right? It's the grade that you get gives you access to the best universities. And the peer exam works today because you go to Tsinghua, you go to Beida, you are part of the elite, right? Because to get into Tsinghua or Beida, if you are from Shanghai, from Anhui, from most provinces, you have to be at the top 0.38% of your province on the Gaokao. Numbers that are like, of each 300 applicants, one get in.
But isn't that similar similar to the Ivy Leagues?
No, because the Gaokao is an exam that is open to everybody. The Ivy League, first of all, each university has their own entrance criteria.
Okay.
It doesn't work like this. In some countries, you have this very open process of this examination guarantees you access to the best universities. We have the same in Brazil. But in Brazil, it doesn't work like in China. Like in China, you have the entire country that wants to go to very few universities. These universities are ranked. Everything in China is ranked. You have the best universities, then the second, blah, 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 blah. It's the same with schools. And people compete to go to the best schools because the best schools are ranked 5 stars, but then they have the best teachers, and they have the best teachers, which means that they have the highest rate of acceptance in the blah, blah. Everything is about competition. Competition is open and transparent. These are the rules that make China different. The fact that competition is open, transparent, and it doesn't cause any sort of social strife because the rules are transparent. If you don't make it, you don't make it. And that's it. It's the family's problem, it's not the state's problem. Again, there's a different social contract. I'm not saying that this is good or bad.
Yes.
But that's it.